Well, it would help me, probably wouldn't help you. Have to look at me, but you know, you have to get a look at the models as well. So hello everybody, it's Monday, it's a new week. I would say it's a new mindset, but it's not. It's Monday. It's the same as any other day in my head. It's the wonder of being self-employed. You work every goddamn day, but you work the way you want to work, so you can't really complain, can you? Right, let me get my monitor set up. I've come in hot. I've come in live. I was going to do this in a couple of hours. And I don't know, I just sat down with a cup of coffee and I thought, no, I just want to get going now. Get started. Get at it. So here we are. We can see on the screen here this delightful Wizard's Tower that we've been working on for the last couple of streams. Now, there's not a lot left to do in it. Not a lot of stuff that I want to do in a stream anyway, because it's what needs doing now is me breaking it down into 3D printing components, which parts I actually want to print, which how they're going to interlock and things like this, because currently it's just a 3D model. It's not really set up for 3D printing as such. So I think really the only thing I need to do today on this is I wouldn't mind adding maybe just some like little wall here and here, and maybe a little bit of detail down in this part. But other than that, next stage is just going to be me breaking it into the parts for the slicer, and I'm not going to do that on stream because it's incredibly boring. And also I just want to design something new. I've got an idea for a lamp I want to design. I've got an idea for two lamps I want to design actually. One of them's really simple though, so I don't think that'll take very long. But the other one's a little bit more, it's not complicated, but we'll get to that when we get to that. But I hope everybody's having a tremendous weekend. Had a tremendous weekend, more to the point. Then again, you could be one of those people where Monday is your weekend. Who knows? But I had a very, very easy weekend. Very little got done. Went for a walk, watched some football. I'm a Newcastle fan, so we'll not mention it. Yeah. But now we're back in my favourite part of the week, which is getting back to designing things. So I think here, ultimately, let me just check everything's good on the audio. It is, right. So we rescaled this down. I like, everything seems fine to me. I don't really want to add much more in terms of modeling and detail and things, because some of the details I've added are quite, to be completely honest, are preposterous. They're not gonna show on the print. They're too small. But that's fine. Although you're not going to necessarily see these specific bricks, you will see an undulation in the surface, which I'll speak to, a little bit of detail, and ultimately these things define scale. Yeah, so I think what I want to start off with is just in this area here, add a little wall, I think. Yeah, and then I might just take some rather than adding a wall down on these big stairs which lead up to the tower. I think what I might do is I might just take a bit of a chiseling out of it, just cut some bits and bobs out of it so it's not so rigidly. I mean, even stuff like that makes a massive difference. Just adding a facet there. Yeah, God, I mean, I really actually don't think there is all that much left to do on this one, so we might get to modeling this lamp a little bit quicker than I was thinking, but that's fine. I'm here all day. So let's just build this little wall bit here. Should we just, I'll do an offset. And that'll just give us a little line that effectively follows that face that we've got. And then I might, what we actually see, this is the problem. I need to be keeping an eye on scale here, because you don't want this to be like 0.2 millimeters thick, this wall, because then, yeah, so 1 millimeter is all right. But I'm actually going to offset it in. So if we know that's 1 millimeter, let's just say that's going to be about 2, isn't it? And then all I'm really doing here is just using this Iso-Pram to give me a thing that I can extrude up a face. A thing is what they call it in the technical world. Somebody asked me on stream the other day, how long had I been in the business? And I don't think anybody in the business describes a face as a thing. But you know what? It's nice that people look at your work and go, I'm in the business. Means I must have some semblance of people thinking I know what I'm doing. Which I do on some level. I shouldn't really talk myself down like that. So we've added this little chunk here for a wall. Now, really all that's doing again is define and scale. The door is a powerful scale definer in that we all have an idea of a door. So at the very least, this is person tall, but it's definitely not person tall. Because this one, if you were here for the first stream, it was something I definitely struggled with. Was I designed it, and then I just felt because of this, I need to stop pointing at the screen. Because of this building here, it was a bit bigger, and it just made everything seem like it wasn't as big as I wanted it to be. I wanted this Wizard's Tower to effectively be this like colossal crystalline structure that, you know, speaks like this node of power with magic, and then the building and this tower that comes up the side of it is obviously the more human aspects where the mages or the wizards would actually have to go in. And this is all going to be transparent, like a transparent PETG or PLA with a lamp, with a light fixture in the bottom. So effectively the whole crystalline tower structure will glow. That's the idea anyway. That's my great idea. So yeah, let's do the other wall. Now, I don't really know what I'm going to do with these walls. I don't know like how much detail do I want to go into them. I think I'll give them some little like crenellations on the top. I'm going to keep saying crenellations because it's a great word. It's a word that I haven't just learned it, but I feel like I forget it regularly. So when I remember it, I want to use it. So crenellations. Crenellations. I started work on a video today for a crowdfunder that I'm doing. I'm very excited by it. It's really testing my video editing skills, which as it stands are none. I've never actually edited a full length video before other than cutting streams down. So it's a lot of work. I have to have a lot of respect for YouTubers who just sit and do huge, you know, like every week, these big, long, like just videos. I mean, it's so much work, but I'm really, really excited about the crowdfunder and what it is. I'm not going to say what it is yet. I mean, actually, to be fair, if you look on my YouTube page, there's some old videos showing off some demos of the UI for my crowdfunder project from about, no, probably about a year ago now. So you'd have an inkling of what it is, but yeah. And I think the chassis for it I will design on stream, but we're not there yet. So just add a little bit of detail at the front of those to give a feeling of wall. Well, actually, it does give a feeling of wall, but you know what? I'm going with it. So do I want to, I'm going to just put a little bit of a, do I want to put a chamfer on there? I mean, again, I just like breaking edges up. Edges can get, it just adds the detail. Like say, for example, this here, this roof. Just, yes, I've modelled tiles on, which obviously adds detail, but it's kind of wild how much just adding small little things completely elevates a model from like, I mean, these nuts on this door, I'm pretty sure they're too small. They're not going to show up, but again, just a little bump will show up. So I think, do I want to do any more? No, I don't really think I do want to do any more on those walls. I mean, maybe I'll do this after I've just said I like breaking up flat surfaces. Just do an Iso-Pram. What harm does it do? None. Except in render time, of which this is not being rendered, so who cares? Although, I don't know if you saw on my Instagram, Abstractia design. You should go follow it. I did some actual renders of this, and it just looks so cool. It's so, the day that we get 3D printers that just like can spit out, like, I mean, to be fair, resin printers kind of do this, but resin printing is a dark, not dark art, but it is a flipping nightmare. I hate resin printing. With resin printing, at least, you know, like you get like nice transparencies that are like actually not limited by the infill and wall thickness and things like this. You can get some really nice stuff out of resin printers, but I just hate resin printers. It's just a mess. And like if I was doing the amount of, obviously I do like a model a day. Well, for a start, I'd probably have cancer because I'd have been in and around resin printers for several hours a day. But just the iteration, like, I mean, I'm not joking. Like, I have 3D printers going 24/7. Well, not 24/7, 12 hours a day at least, every day, multiple. And if adding into that workflow was also this thing of, oh, now I need to wash the parts, cure the parts, to be like seeing how they fit together. I mean, oh my God, I would never get anything done. So yeah, I don't like resin printers. I use resin printers. Don't like them though. I've just added a fillet to the back here because what I want to do is just add a bit of chamfer, just to thin it off a bit because it just feels absolutely monumentally thick. There. Yeah, cool. It's more like a fence than a wall. But do the wizards care? Probably. Do I? No. So I'm actually going to put a little bit of a detail in here because this feels unfinished to me, because it is. So let's bring a chamfer in there just to give it another edge. We did this cool like cross window on this bit here. I don't know if you want to do the same there. I wonder if we can kind of play on this arc that we've got going on, like the arch doors. So if we were to do this, bring it in. Let's try, oh, I haven't got my keys on for you. 2 seconds. Oh, that worked first time this time. Brilliant. Starting to get grips with this OBS lock. So let's just bring this line down here, mirror that across, select both of those and imprint, not insert. So now what we can do is we can pull this surface out that we've made. Yeah. And then we can pull that in and give it a little bit of detail. Oh, this is what I love about hard surface modeling. It's just like sometimes you just feel like you just put a little chamfer on there again, more edges, more detail, more fun. Should we put Iso-Prams in here? Just maybe a little bit. Do a couple of bars. So odd. I don't have any music in my headphones, and it's driving me insane. My forecaster that I use for the microphone doesn't let me have music in. It's just annoying how it works. I won't bore the life out of you with it. But it's so annoying that I can't get music in my headphones at the same time, because when I stop talking, like, I feel like it's just absolute silence, which it is because I'm not talking in my headphones. It's like absolute silence, which makes me feel like I'm not streaming properly. Which I imagine some people will be quite pleased when I don't talk. So what do we... No, I'm just going to leave that now. I don't need to go overboard. But that little bit of detail just again helps. Put chamfers on these to make them feel more like chiseled rock. God, honestly, sometimes just a single chamfer makes such a difference. Yeah, that just makes a big difference. So talking of this, I think what we need to do is add some fillets on these corners here. I could probably do with chamfer around here, and the reason for that is just we've got quite a big overhang there, and it's going to need supports. So I think I might do that. Then can I just steal? I mean, a little bit of support's fine, but I just hate it. It's just this. That's what we want. Excellent. Just adds time, doesn't it? Doing supports. Quick tip: if you ever need to copy a fillet, you just start doing it and click on the other fillet, and then it matches it. Which I didn't realise till very recently. Just gonna have a little sip. LaCroix. Where the hell's the camera? Here. LaCroix. Convinced myself that they're nice. They're just boring. They are refreshing though. And as a man that is addicted to sparkling water, right. I'm not sure, you know, much more needs doing here. What about, I tell you what, why don't we put some graves? Yeah, you know what? What situation's ever been made worse by a grave? Yeah, let's put some, yeah, that's a really good idea actually. We've got all this space here. Let's just put a load of little graves in. Now the problem again, scale. You don't want to make these break the scale. So, do we want to add graves? Or what about, no, let's just do some graves. You know what? I'm overthinking it. Right, we're going to do 1 millimeter thick. And let's just do 1 by 1. Yes. Let's actually make them a little bit less than 1 millimeter thick. Let's do an imprint and bring that in. This might be a stupid idea. These probably won't print out, but what they do is they fill the space up. So they are the size of the door though, so let's actually bring them down. Would the gate? I feel like the graves would be facing the stairs. You do say some odd sentences, don't you? Graves will be facing the stairs. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Would help if I could click where the camera is, right? God, it looks crazy from the top, doesn't it? Now, I'm not going to have these completely perfect, because I feel like that breaks. I love little details like this. It's so, I don't know, I just think like, I think it's my head that's, you know, I said before, like I build like a little bit of head lore with this stuff. Like, you know, it's like a point of power, this crystal tower that mages reside in. I love stuff like that. Like, and then when you add little details like this, I mean, it's just classic environmental storytelling, isn't it? Like, what's going on here with this mouse? Let's just move these a little bit. Sweet. So in headcanon, let's say these graves are the mages that have spent their lives in this tower. I realise now, was it called I've read a book recently, I think, was it called The Final Earth? The Final Age? Final Era? I can't remember, but they had these nodes of power. It was all like geomancy, like all earth-based magic. And they had these like nodes of power like this. Maybe I've like subconsciously been influenced without realising it. Right, so I don't want to do any more on this because there's potential that when I come to break it down into its individual 3D printed parts, and I start the breakout to figure out how I'm going to actually build this. There's potential that I'll have to make changes. And the more detail you add, the harder those changes can become. So at this point, it's probably better to do a test print, see how I feel. Like, it's things like this. Like, this crystal intersects through this roof. So how am I dealing with that? Like, I think the best way to do would be to literally cut the roof. But then, I don't know, would it be... I think actually the best thing to do would be to cut out the crystal. Roof out the crystal, because the crystal can slide down onto it. So the best thing to do would actually be to cut the roof, basically boolean the roof with the crystal. Remove. Yeah. Because then when you print this crystal part and you slide it down on the base, which will have the building and everything on, there would be this hole here for it to fit in. That would be the way to do it. And then this here is a tricky one. This tower, the actual tower part, this is not going to be printed in the same material as this, so I need to figure out how I'm going to get this into here. I think, again, it might be a case of taking the crystal and boolean away this all the way up. So there's actually a circular cutout here. So the whole thing can slide down in, and then these crystals potentially printed separately that then get glued on the top. Alternatively, I could get rid of a couple of these crystals just for, I don't know, just for ease, but these are the bits where I guarantee you what's going to happen is I'm going to think I've nailed the fitment. I'm going to print it. I'm going to realise there's a bit that interfaces with another bit that stops you assembling it, and I'll have to do it again. I have got 7 days left on the competition on MakerWorld though, so I'm not too concerned. I've got plenty of time. Compared to when I did the book knock, I'm time rich. I'd also like to do some of the stones as separate like colours, so they're not all just grey. So I might have to have a little think about that as well. But yeah. But I think what we should do now is we should have a look at these lamps that I want to design. So let's save this just so I don't forget. And let's go to the iPad. Well, it's not the iPad anymore. It's the iPad button on my Stream Deck, but it's actually good notes on my computer. Oh, sorry, didn't mean to hit the microphone there. On my desktop. Oh, I've just realised I've got loads of dropped frames. Bloody Google Drive. Yeah, it'll be all right now. Google Drive started uploading a gigantic file in the background there. I'm very sorry if you've been getting stuttering. It'll be fixed now. All is good. The stream is green. So, well, here's actually the inspiration images that we went through on the first stream for the Mages Tower. But this is my concept for a lamp. It's lamp-esque, which is more lamp than most of my lamps. Basically, it's going to comprise of a fairly simple, I want to say trombone-esque base, i.e. a funnel, like a wide top that then comes down into a narrower stem, which is the stand, the base. But then it'll be a color. So it'll be like a yellow, or I don't know, it might even be a transparent filament. I'm not sure yet. And the light will be mounted in here. So whereas quite a lot of my lamps, the light is in the base, what I want to do here is have the light in here, and I might even do a version of this that takes an actual bulb rather than the LED kit. But we're not there yet. And then separately, there will be the shade part, and the shade part will be, you can't really see it that well on my beautiful sketch, but effectively the shade will be a layer thick, so it's not solid. It's like a layer thick, and it has like a lip which matches the internal of the cone, so it'll effectively slip down onto the cone. And I'll have the light here, so you'll have the emission through the body part, and then also the emission through where the body and the shade are touching, and then also the emission through the single layer shade part. So I think it'd be quite cool, and I think I'd like to do some sort of like displaced pattern on the shade. Now, I was mucking around at the weekend with the Deform tool, again in Plasticity, and boy is it powerful, but boy does it just decide when it's really, sometimes it just doesn't want to deform what you want to deform, and it's not an issue with the tool, it's an issue that when you're designing something with the Deform tool and you tell it to deform to a surface, effectively because it's a NURBS modeler in Plasticity, it can't have any intersections. If it intersects, that's effectively math formulas failing with no answer, and then death in Plasticity occurs. So what effectively you have to do is design a pattern that can be displaced, that will not have any intersections when it is bent around the surface you want it to be bent around. That's incredibly difficult to do and not to do. It's incredibly difficult to know if you're doing that. And ultimately what you can end up doing is you can design this lovely, wonderful, wavy pattern, and then it won't displace. It won't deform. Sorry, I keep saying displace, and I mean the Deform tool. It won't deform to the surface you want it to in Plasticity, and then you're a little bit up a creek without a paddle because you've spent the time designing this surface that you then want to deform that you can't. The way around it is make small deforms that you then like Radial Array, which I think is what I'll probably try and do here. So we'll try. What we'll do is we'll design the base body, and then we will see about how we want to deal with the pattern on the shade, because ultimately at that point we're already halfway through the design. And I think I'll make some variations. I love making a design and then making variations, because one, it gets me a lot for my time, and it gets Patreons and backers a lot of product for the same amount of time as well. So yeah, let's just get started. So tell you what I will do is I will take a screenshot of this just to bring it in to Plasticity. It's not so much for me because I've always got the idea in my head, but it's when people join the stream halfway through and they're like, what in the hell are you designing? At least there's this high resolution piece of artwork that they can look at and go, all right, this guy's the real deal. Like this is a designer. Right, let's make sure to go about Plasticity. So file, let's do a new file. And let's say, yes, we want to clear. First things first, let's bring in the image. So on the desktop, scale it up. Damn, looks good, doesn't it? Right, this is going to be a lamp that will not fit on the A1 Mini by default. But I think what I might do is I'll design it bigger, and then essentially the limiting aspect will probably be the stem height of the vase. So this bit here, effectively. But it would be really easy to basically put a cut in here and have that print in two parts if you do have an A1 Mini. but let's go for 245. I don't know why I do 245, because I know that the P1, P2S, etc. 3D printers have more than that, but I like having a bit of buffer, because if I get a bit creative halfway through the process, you don't want to find yourself trapped. Let's also bring in the light mount. So if we go to 3D printing, remodeled parts, mount, right? Now I want the stem to be as tight as it can be to this dimension. This is my like pre-modeled part that I use, that the bamboo LED kit slides into. I want the aspect to be quite narrow to its height, but this is a limiting dimension. So ultimately, I don't really want to be going, I mean, obviously it's going to be higher, the mount, but I don't really want to be going any wider than it. So like this would be kind of where I would want the stand width to be. This is actually too big, isn't it? Bring it in a little bit so we can see it. So let's just build out the base central shape. Let's just call it the funnel. It kind of is a funnel, but let's just call it the funnel. And then I need to think about what sort of ratio to width to height to base width do I want. I think it's probably going to be something around about this. But because the shade, the thing you have to remember is the shade part will come down lower. So the shade will effectively be like that. Imagine these lines are revolved. Yeah, so actually I think this probably isn't too far from being right. So let's just join these together. And add just a delightfully satisfying fillet. Basically because I've been doing YouTube videos and like, obviously my YouTube algorithm's now turned into 1,000 hacks to get you 1 million views in 6 minutes. And one of the things that came up in my shorts feed was, if you say the word satisfying over 10 times in, I think it was 60 minutes of footage, the algorithm prioritizes you. And I was like, it's like the modern version of witchcraft, isn't it? The way, like, the little myths that people have made up about the algorithms. Do you know what it is? They just show you video of people, and if they like it, they watch it, and if they don't, they don't. That's literally the algorithm. Says the man who has no idea what the algorithm is. So let's revolve this. Oh yeah, I think I've actually kind of got that first time. Yeah, I like it. Let's do a section analysis so we can just... Yeah. I'm going to take that original line that we use. I'm going to offset it. I'm going to offset it 2 millimeters. And basically what I'm starting to do here is to think about the curve that will form the inside of the shade. So though, I think I probably want the shade to sit nearer to flush. So effectively the shade will have, let's then also bring it out, and let's just do, so this is going to print, so let's think in multiples of nozzle diameter, just to keep things as quick as they can be in the slicer, because you do, if you do like 1.3 as your wall width, it adds actually quite a lot of time because it's not a multiple of the nozzle width. So you add in infill where you might have just originally had perimeters. So let's just do 1.2 for the width, but I actually want it minus 1.2, don't I? Because I want it to come out. Yeah, cool. And then I'm going to line here, and then just continue this line up, and we will continue this line up, and then we will take this and this. I think I'm probably making a bit of a mistake here, modeling this out, when really what I should do is just do it as a cylinder for now. I probably will do that, but I just want to see if my ideas right about how this will fit together. So I'm just trying to build the wall of the shade effectively here. So if we think that that shape there, can I isolate? Let me just revolve it. Oh, mustn't have selected the, no I didn't. It's this. Missed a section. So that, and that. It's a surface, which is fine. A shade, sorry. So let's just join all of these together. The Boolean. Yeah, so effectively that will be the, bear in mind we're looking at it split, we're looking at it halfway through with the section analysis here. But the shade part will just sit, it'll sit in this cone. I'm going to get rid of all these lines because they're, well, I'm going to hide them, I'm not going to get rid of them. Yeah, so when we make this 3D rather than a sheet, that will be able to just slip over. Now obviously this hole at the bottom here will have to be the size of the top, so this actually wouldn't fit at this moment in time. But yeah, so that's me just basically just figuring out like what sort of interface there's going to be. So we actually, I won't get rid of it. Fair. We take this here, this, and we do a cut. Ooh. Shift D to get the curve, and then we do a cut down here. And then we can get rid of that. So yeah, I think like actually it'd be pretty. It's quite a satisfying little fitment, like how it just sits in. But I think the best thing to do, as daft as this sounds, is let's get rid of this, the section analysis for now, and let's get rid of this curve. I think it might just be a good idea just to, while we're going to figure out the surface finish, to literally just do a cylinder rather than worrying about all that internal. Because what we can do is we can design the detail and then just put it, effectively cut out the version that has all that interface and internal part. But if I'm going to try use the Deform tool, which as I said earlier is a finicky beast, it's probably better just to have a standard cylinder just for it being as simple as possible. So let's also get rid of the mount just for now. Now, if we're going to do pattern, I mean, to be honest, I'm probably forcing the Deform tool a little bit here, because what you could do is you could just surface model something that's a 24th of the radius of the circumference, sorry, of the shade, model it and then array it. But I feel like what I want to do is try the Deform tool. It's more of a, if it doesn't work, it doesn't work. We've had a look at it on stream. What can you do? Have fun. That's all you can do. So I think what I'd like, maybe 24 sections for the faces. So 24 individual repetitions of whatever pattern I'm going to design. And I'll be completely honest with you, no idea what pattern I'm designing. I haven't decided yet. So the best way to do that is if we take the radial array tool of this line that I've drawn, and I always like having the face that I'm going to be editing actually on the plane, so the center line. So I'll show you what I mean. So initially what I would think is, all right, I want 24 sections. So do a radial array of 24. However, do 24. See how they're not aligned with the front here. Effectively, this is a 24th. And I don't want that. I want it to be perfectly straight on it. It's not that it doesn't impact the modeling, but what it impacts is just when you're working on planes in plasticity, it's just nice if you've got one that's just naturally on one of the standard planes. So I'm going to do 48. And basically double how many I have, but ignore 50% of them. But what it does is it pushes everything round 1/2. So now if I take these two, this is 1/24th, but it's 1/24th aligned to the planar axis in plasticity. So if I cut this and then just do an extend just so it goes all the way through. Now I'm going to get rid of all these lines because I don't need them anymore. Get rid of this, and get rid of that. Now what I've got here is a slice that is 1/24th. So let's go with a deform tool. Let's just try with a deform tool. And then when it doesn't work, I'll just model a pattern onto this and radial array it 24 times. But one of the smartest tools in here is the Unwrap tool. Caps lock on. Typing like a boomer. Unwrap face. Now what that's done is it's basically taken this face that I selected and it's made it flat. It's unwrapped it. But if you're not in a 3D modeling and stuff like that, unwrapping doesn't make any sense. But effectively you're taking the face and you are peeling it from the geometry and laying it flat like a sheet so you can do something with it. And what we do is we use this as a reference plane. So when we model something, we say, right, I've modeled this design. Here's the reference plane, which happens to be a perfectly unwrapped version of what we then want to model on now. So that's the theory. That is the theory. So I think what I might want to try and do is I'm gonna give myself a bit of buffer. Let me get rid of this template. I'm going to give myself a tiny bit of buffer. And by buffer, I mean, when we then radial array these, it's probably a little bit nicer if there's not intricate geometry at the edges where when you then radial array it is touching each other, because ultimately I then want to join them and it could be a little bit problematic. It also could not be, but I'm going for maximum success opportunity here while I'm broadcasting live on the internet. So I'm going to do a little inset here that effectively says the buffer around this area is devoid of detail. And if I model within this, I know that I've got this area all around. If you can see here where this is, that won't have any detail. So there's less chance of issues when you then come to combine it all back together. So let's just hide this. Now I'm actually going to go wilder. I'm going to, first of all, I've just realized I'm directly modeling on the plane, which I shouldn't have done, but that's fine. So let's just duplicate this sheet and let's just call this ref. So I know that that was the original reference plane and I'm going to hide it. Before I hide it, I'm actually going to get rid of those faces I made. Delete redundant topology. Cool. Right. So what I'm going to do, I'm just delete it. I'm going to delete that face in the middle. And why don't we just try something wavy? So if we go, we put an Iso-Pram in here, which is the middle. And then another Iso-Pram in here. Actually, has it already done it? Already did it. And then let's just do a bridged curve between them. pull them to the edge so we can use them as strange, it's not moving. We want it right on the edge, because if it's not right on the edge, you can't use it as a guide when you're lofting or notching. Right. So if we look at the points, we've got these points. We've got, yeah, you might not be able to see this properly on the stream. I can barely see them here. So you've got 1 point, 2 point, 3 point, 4 point, and then obviously the connections. I'm not going to do anything with these right now because I want to keep tangency to this edge. So let's just try something really, really simple. And that is to make a surface that just has this little curvature inside. So let's loft this to this. And then use this as a guide. This to this, and then this here. Just let me turn off those edges and the curve. I think I connected to the curve there, not there. Oh no, we're okay, we're smooth. So we've got this somewhat like more organic, soft surface. Let's turn the edges back on. So let's join these together. Now this should work, because I mean, this is so basic. But God forbid it did. Now, the distance that it is from the reference plane that you're going to do does actually have an impact. So I'm going to pull it all the way out. So the curve, because if this curve here, this where it dents in, was past the reference plane, when it deforms, it would actually be inside the thing you're mapping it to. Try this. No, that's not what I wanted. It's this that I want. Went the wrong way around. Doesn't matter. Just rotate it. Z180. Right. So let's select this, which was the nice curved surface that we made. Let's do F for the palette, deform. And then what we do is we select this as the reference plane and we select this as the face. And it has actually worked. It's just inside because I had to do that rotation. Let's just keep the tools though. Flip the normal, yeah. So that brings it onto the outside. So, yeah, cool. So now if we were to, I mean, it's really subtle because we're working on basically a 24th of a circle here, which is not maths I'm going to do in my head right now. But ultimately that has taken, so you can see here it's got this curvature. It has taken this flat thing and deformed it to this curvature, which now means if I do a radial array and I take it back to this reference point right in the middle, and let's turn it back to 24, we get perfectly aligned. Brilliant. Over the moon that's worked. So you see, effectively we've made a really, really nice, organic, smooth surface that, you know, you've taken a reference plane and essentially deformed it around, which I just think it is a powerful tool. And what you could have done is you could have just taken the whole cylinder, unwrapped the whole cylinder's face, and then modeled multiple of these and then wrapped that around the whole cylinder face. But I found that I get more feelies that way. And this approach of doing segmented deform, if you know you're going to do this sort of thing afterwards, actually works pretty well. So if we take all of these, let's just get the edges back on, because as much as they are visual busyness, they do help me with understanding what the hell's going on. Right. So they all join together perfectly. And now that's part of why the deform tool is so good, is because we deformed it, and we deformed it on a surface that we knew was a 24th of the circumference, when you then radially arrayed them, they're all perfectly aligned. So let's just make this solid. And let's just shouldn't got rid of that. I don't need to get rid of that. Let's bring that back, because I'm going to do some other shade designs, so why would I get rid of it? Let's just put this in a group, hide it, and let's just call the group slices. It doesn't matter, does it? Now, so where is my sheet? So this here is the original, and that there is the ones we modelled at the beginning. So let me think about this. What's the best way to cut out that shape? Essentially, we're just doing the work that we were doing before. But now I've got the modelled part. So I'll just bring these curves back in and we'll have a look. And I'll unfortunately have to turn X-ray mode on. So this is the internal structure. So basically all I want to do is do a revolve of this, which I kind of already did, but and when I do it, should I cut or should I? Let me think about this. I do already have these, don't I? Yeah, I know what I'm going to do. Right, where's my deformed one? So let's hollow this on the bottom. And let's make it minus 1.2. Cool. Now we can just attach this, which was the lip we modelled originally, onto it. But I'm actually going to take a copy of it again, because I think we're going to want to do a couple of these, so having these saves a bit of time. So let's boolean this to this, and then this face in the middle. Let's get rid of these curves. Don't need them now. Face in the middle, just get rid of that. So now, if we do section analysis like this, see the wonderful thing about this as well, they're easy to print because you would print it this on the bed. We do actually need to model the base, but yeah. So that will just slip down into this. So let's just actually make this solid first, and then let's hollow it at the top. Is it? Look at it on the yeah, that's what I want. Yeah, a little bit of space just for it to plonk itself down on. Bit odd, but plasticity, how easy is that to fix? Just pull the surface. Might add a little bit of filleting in there just to give it a bit more strength where it'll end up sitting down. Give it a fillet. I shouldn't do that because that's going to be the print surface and fillets on the print bed here. Bad. We can do that, which is a flat surface, into a shallower fillet. It just softens the aspect of the top a little bit. So let's also bring a bit of a fillet in here, just again to help it out with a bit of strength, because just to, it's a circle, it's not going to do it anyway, but I was thinking if that's just a pure right angle, it might be a little bit like compressing a little bit when it hangs, but it's not going to. So again, a little bit of a fillet there, and then a chamfer, and then a fillet there, just to try soften things up a little bit. So, what do I think of the aspect? Yeah, I think it's all right. Be interesting to see how it works with the transparent base, or a slightly transparent base and shade. Yeah, let's put the mount in now, just to actually make it functional. I'll try test print this today. I think I've got time on the printer today. You know, I've got quite a large lamp going at the moment that I printed the weekend. It's about 16 hours, so nah, probably not. Let's put these in that folder as well that we were saving some of the backups in. Right, the mount. So how high do we want the mount? I don't think we want the mount any higher than the bottom of the shade, because we want the light only in the shade area. Do I mean that? Yeah, I think I do. Yeah, I think I do. So let's... I'm just going to add in an Iso-Pram there, and then I'm going to just add in another Iso-Pram. I'm going to put it like there, and then I can just basically pull them in. This gives a little lip that it'll sit on, just so then what I can do is I can boolean them together, because now they're touching. Got a little bit of protrusion there, but that's fine. I can just shave that face off, and then we can also do this. And it just means there'll be no support needed. It's actually quite good, this, in a way as well, because it adds a bit of weight, because the base is obviously quite thin, because it's kind of acting as a shade as well. But having a bit more mass here just makes it a bit more steady. It might, to be fair, it might still be a little bit too light, at which point all I'll have to do is just put some more infill / thickening in the bottom, just so there's more material. But ideally, you just want to use as little material as possible. So that'd be where the cable would come out. And so what we need is a hole on the... So is that... How have I got this aligned? So that's the right. So it's the left. So we just need a hole for the cable to come out. Let's also just do a corner rectangle. Trim. Actually, I'm going to trim that as well, because I don't actually want a perfect arch across the top. What I want is, well, you'll see. I don't actually know what you would call it. It's like an arch, but it's more of a what I would describe as overarched. So, see, like that would be a perfect arch, but you actually need to do it. Let's just cut this hole out. I'll readjoin that, because the amount of times I've done that move, got to the 3D printer and gone, why is there a hole on both sides? Because I forgot it's cut all the way through. So if we select this this corner here, and we select this corner here, and we start filleting. Yeah, I just like to do that. You see, like over fillet it, So you get this more like church arch. And the reason for that is it doesn't need any support. Should bring that. Actually, I don't. Just bring it smooth like that. Then we just take that face and push it up to get rid of where it protruded through. Yeah, pretty cool. I quite like it. Let's save it. Because I'm an absolute madman and have done all of that work with no saves. Thankfully, Plasticity seems to do a lot of saves. What should we call this? Funnel lamp. Now, should we do another shade? Because I do like having a bit of variety. Because I might not like this shade when it comes off, and then it's a bit of a. I've then lost me gusto and me vigor to open up the design again. I like to have a design and be done with it. So yes, let's do that. So let's hide that, and then we should have. If we go into our slices part. Got the OG here. The OG slice. And we also got the reference. Yeah, we've got the OG reference as well. So let's hide this again. Let's hide that. And then let's duplicate the reference. And do you know what we should do? Let's try this. Let's not have a straight. Let's not have a straight shade. Let's have a little bit of a bow to it. So if we take this, it took me precisely one successful shade to start pushing my luck with. And then let's cut that. So now this is technically curved on. I completely. Oh, I have. Yeah, I've buggered that up. Right. No, that's not what I meant to do. Really want to. What I should do here is a revolve cut. So let's grab this and go on. But we need to make this. Oh, no, we don't. We can just go through here. So if we pick that curve again. So what I'm trying to do is keep the top line curvature because it's a cylinder, but then also add in this. So now I think we can just, if we unwrap, I don't think we need that face there. Please delete. Delete redundant topology. Get in. So now if we unwrap this, I don't actually think we need to do this either because it's probably the same as the other face, but unwrap face. I'm not really sure why you went that way, but let's see if it was because I was on an odd plane there. Okay, well, you're an interesting little tool, aren't you? But I'm going to just, yeah, let's just rotate it. This is what happens every time. I get used to a tool and I think, right, break it. Just do more that it doesn't want to do. So what do I feel like doing here? Should we try and not do a little buffer this time? Should we just go rogue and hope for the best? let's add some guidelines in so I've got some idea of shape. Do not like. Let's 8 give me, will 8 give me the desired effect? So if we were coming here, to now 7, is 7 what I want? Come to here, then to here. I'm just thinking about making these little petal style shapes. Let's, you know what, let's just go for it. I'm going to try make some weird petal shapes. Because what we could do is not be concerned about it all joining up in one action. We could effectively add detail and then use this as the joining. In that sense, it's not going to make any sense to anybody but me. It just isn't. So actually, let's get rid of this reference plane and let's just add some angles in here, and then let's bridge them. That might be a bit of an aggressive angle actually, but oops. Let's just try this. Oh, should I try X-Nurbs? Brilliant. Now X-Nurbs, probably that's in the studio. I think it's studio. I forget what the tiers are. I think it's Indian studio. I have the studio license. So X-Nurbs is only in studio. It's a really powerful patching tool effectively. So I don't like this. Why has it done that? You know what, let's just do a normal patch and use that as a guide. Mustn't be on the I mustn't have connected the edges there, because that should be a broken. I know ultimately you could infinitely scroll and never be happy, but I feel like I could do with a little bit further. Little bit further of a scroll. It's loft. Let's not loft like that actually. Let's take this line here and extrude it out so it's got a little bit of a geometry to figure out some tangency from. So if we take this to this and then loft. G1. And then we can get rid of that. We take this to this and loft. I think I've got something not matching up on the guides, because ultimately that's worked, which is the same thing. But it doesn't really matter. So if we now, I'm just going to try something here with this is not going to be ideal. So this here is the reference plane. Let's just take this, deform, select the reference plane, and then select that. Yeah, so deform operation failed. I think. Pull this out, will that help any? It's so actually it is kind of not what I meant. So flip UV there, that was what I thought would happen. Interesting. Now that's offset from that surface because I moved it down here. If we just look at the keep tools, you can see how far it is from the reference surface. So let's just duplicate this down. These won't join, and nor should they. Right, let's bring them a bit closer just to see if we can get away with this, because that's why it failed before. It was effectively saying what you're asking me to stretch was 2. I quite like that as well. So I love accidents like this. That's fine. That's also fine. But I prefer that. So I think we should just turn these solid now. Don't tell me you can't turn solid. You can turn solid. See? Sometimes it just tells you lies. Or it wants you to ask it in a very specific way to do the thing that you want it to do. Oh, Studio has X-Nurbs as well, does it? Oh, no, Studio has... That's what I said, yeah, Studio. Sorry, I'm completely and utterly... I always get Indian Studio mixed up. Now let's pull... actually, you know, I don't think I do want to pull them in. Let's just select these ribs. And then... I think really now, because we're not that fussed about this original shape, it was just more of a deformer. Let's just see what happens when we radially array these. Say that 1,000 times quickly. Let's just actually get rid of this. And you know what? Just going to make these touch just for... So if we do -1, grab X1. Now these now won't touch when we go this on the outsides, but that's fine. Wanted more of this just toothed section. Nice. So where is my original... This is it here, isn't it? No, it's not. Well, it is. That's the other part, though. This is it here. Let me just look to see how that's interfacing. Yeah, that's okay. I don't want this on the top. I mean, I don't actually need to do it this way. I can just... I'm just thinking how I want to fill this out. Because obviously it's a nice pattern, but I want a shade in it. Now I can just draw effectively a curve inside, which I think is probably what I will do. But I feel like I want to try something different. The inspector, the section analysis tool is the opposite. When I started using Plasticity, it didn't have it. And it was the #1 thing that was really, really annoying. Especially coming from Fusion, where I was just so used to it. Just want a really, really slight touching here, just so it's not... I think that's it, though. So now let's radial array this to here. Yeah, we're getting that. Nothing quite like telling Plasticity a Boolean like 40 things at once. It's not going to work, but that's fine. What I should do, forget everything I've just done. Take this and Boolean it to this. And then delete everything else. Then radial array this. And hope for the best. And the best has happened. Super. So now I want to... Do I want to cut those off? I don't want to... Maybe I just want to pull these up actually, just to keep the taper. The maths engine in Plasticity is currently screaming, saying, "Oh yeah, just pull that surface up, yeah." No, it's not worth it. Right, let's just make it flat. So, well, actually, it needs to be flat anyway because it's printing there. So, somehow, no matter where I put my microphone, I managed to get it in front of the key I want to press. Right. So, enjoy work. Well, I mean, I know that's a terrible sentence to say, but I hope it works okay. See you later. So if we've got original, so this is our body, isn't it? Yeah, cool. So if we just do the same again, F hollow, please. This is a big ask for this hollow. All these straight edges could be in trouble there. It's okay though. I can work around it. I wonder, I'm just going to do some undos here. I've never really thought of trying this before. We can redo all this back again. It's not a problem. We've got one here. Minus 1.2. No. Will this face work? I think ultimately what's happening is one sec, let me just... Is these edges here are big points of intersection when it comes to hollow. So let's go back to where we were. Yeah, turns out you can't. So one you could redo. Alright, let's cut this. And let's cut this. Just going back over ourselves here, but I wanted to try that because my idea was that what I could do is if I could hollow effectively these faces and then revolve it, you would get around the issue of it not being hollowed, but it's fine. So we want to get around this then. This is I mean, as it happens, you just print it in spiral vase mode and it won't matter. It would be naturally hollowed by the slicer. But let's delete these lines. Delete redundant topology. Ooh, I think my mouse battery's dying again. It's on one. So let's get our body here and let's just boolean this away. So let's pick I feel like what I want to do is not this. This gives us a sheet rather than a solid. And then I think if I just duplicate this sheet, which I can do, but it's not going to give me the internal. See, this is sometimes how I get around when the hollow tool doesn't work, is you effectively can take your sheet, duplicate it, shrink it slightly, and then you can cap the tops, and then you end up with a thinned wall that you want. But I don't think it's gonna be the answer here. Can I thicken this? Thicken. Generally, the thicken command doesn't work when the hollow command can't work either. An easy way around this would be to effectively cap all these gaps inside. I just don't want to do that. I want the idea of the shade to have this patterning inside because the light will refract in it. There we go. So that has thickened. So I think this might be the answer. But we will have to chop those tops off again because the thicken command basically takes the face and, as you can imagine, thickens it in every single direction. So where there was faces on the top there, they go vertically. So that now isn't flat and wouldn't print. I can hear my cat starting to rise. Soon there will be screams for dinner. Right. So if we now bring in the body. Do I have... There we go. And then there's that bit there too. So that's the lip. So all we really need to do here is connect this to that, which is not a problem. So let's just take that, duplicate that, and then let's offset it so it goes across there. Yeah. Now we can basically just pick this. What I do though, I'm going to turn on this section analysis just so cheeky. There's that bit we deleted off the top that's still there. Don't dissolve, don't dissolve. Save my bacon there, I did. Let me take this. Pull it down to there. So then effectively what we've done there is we've taken the shade we just designed and have interfaced it with this cone thing, which I've called a lip. Class. So we do need this to be flush with the top here because it does need to be flat to print because it will print off this surface. Oh, yeah, I'm going to say it's that face we copied before. Brilliant. Don't want to say it, but I feel like I would like the shade to be scaled a little bit more, but then that breaks there. But that doesn't matter. What's that? Let's get it right. Let's just get it right. So let's actually not join those yet. Because what we can do if we don't join them. I'm just thinking I don't really like the ratio. I feel like it's a little bit squat, the shade. If we were to do this and then bring, gotta let it scale. Sometimes my brain works quicker than it. It's not, oh, I didn't undo far enough. Let's check this is just this. It is, yeah. What I don't want is I don't want the lip when I'm scaling it because then the lip won't fit with the shade anymore. The base, sorry. So if we just bring this down so it's cheap, what we can do is we can just bring that. We set the pivot to here. We bring it up, we perfectly flush it with that little connector we made. Yeah, I'd much prefer that. And then we bring the lip back in and we can take the shade, the little connector and the lip and boolean them all together. Brilliant. So now if we look on the side, yep. So this shade then just sits into this conical region. I think it's pretty cool actually. I'm quite looking forward to print this. My only concern is there's not a lot of print bed contact. Well, that's what brims are for. It's just for fun going to render mode, not that render mode's very... render mode's completely fine. I just don't render ever in Plasticity. I don't even think they've got... Have they got transparent materials? I only have the base materials. I don't have anything fancy. No. Let's just put plastic on it. And let's make this my favourite of all the colours, which you'll know if you've ever watched any of my sorry, if you've ever looked at any of my stuff on MakerWorld. Bloody love teal. It doesn't need to be shiny, does it? Plastic, 3D printed plastic is not shiny. Well, it can be. Yeah, so I think this is going to turn out really cool. It's a shame I've got all this stuff on the print at the moment because I'd really quite like to give this a go right now. But when we'll get the glow out of the internal part and then through this bit, I just think we'll get some pretty cool like two-tone mix. We will see. Probably would be better with a real bulb rather than the LED. So what I'll do is I'll print them and I'll test the fitment. If I'm in love with the design, I'll modify this to also be able to take a E27 or a E14 bulb. Right, well, I'm going to call that a design done. Before we go, I've got to pay the bills. So I'm really pleased to announce that I'm sponsored today. I'm sponsored by me. This is me on MakerWorld, Abstractia design. If you like designs, there is now 659 on here. I did a design a day for 18 months, and now I do a design Monday to Friday. I don't do design every day, but still 5 designs a week. Sometimes more if I get a little bit, how do I describe it? A little bit manic. Yeah, if you like any of these designs and you're interested in selling them in an Etsy store or a Shopify store or something like that, and by selling them, I mean the 3D prints, not the files. The files are not allowed to be sold. You can join commercial membership on MakerWorld, or you can join a commercial membership on my Patreon, which is also linked on my profile page. And there's a few tiers, but basically top tier allows you all of the models. So that's all 659 on every model that comes in the future under a single license. Also with image use. There's another tier that does not allow image use, and there is another tier that is a single model. If there's just one thing or you want to dip your toe and just give it a go. It's a monthly subscription. So yeah, check it out. There's loads and loads of stuff on here. I've just done this vase actually, which is super, super duper simple. But man, I don't know what it is. I just absolutely love it. It came out so good. Yeah, so that was today's upload. It's just been uploaded 2 hours ago. This is a lantern that we designed on stream a couple of weeks ago. It's great. This is a modern heatsink style lamp that we designed on stream, which involved me browsing AliExpress and stumbling across this heatsink, which I immediately fell in love with and then wanted to design a whole lamp around it. I love this lamp. It's in the garage downstairs. I use it as a little lamp next to my photo setup. Another bounce light, we designed that on stream. So yeah, if you like the work, you like the designs, you can either support just for the sake of supporting, which I appreciate greatly, or you can support because you want to sell in your store. Also appreciate greatly. You're all wonderful, the people who actually pay for the designs. Do not steal the designs. MakerWorld scans platforms. MakerWorld tells me when they're found elsewhere. I check them against my subscriber database, and there is no second chances. It is gone if you steal. Including even a man that was selling in a physical store in Malaysia. Somehow I found out. There you go. To be fair to him, once I found out, he actually subscribed. He was a good guy. He did the right thing in the end. But anyway, yeah, check out my profile. There's also a video uploaded on my YouTube once a week, which is sometimes more edited versions of these streams if you want to catch up with them. But as I say, I do have a crowdfunder coming up for something, and I will have an announcement video for that in the near future. I'm not going to commit to a specific time. But yeah, so all I will do is I'll leave it with a simple message, and that is have fun, and I will see you next time.